Today we have the SubZero Rogue Baritone. So as you can see, I got this SubZero Rogue Baritone. I'm going to give you guys some specs on the beast, as well as costs, stuff like that. So what we got first, looks like a maple neck. It's a one-piece, just some normal generic tuners, generic pickups, generic tune-o-matic bridge, all that good stuff. Got the block inlays, nickel frets, and then we got some black trim, normal pick guard, bolt-on neck, string through body. Pretty normal. You can look up more detailed specs on their website. But I mean, as well as out of the box, this thing played okay. It wasn't great. The action was pretty high. As far as finish flaws, there's a few. I think altogether price on this was about $460-ish shipped to the States. They actually shipped from Leeds, UK, I think. So it only took about a week to get here, which is pretty awesome, honestly. It shipped DHL, which I'm not a huge fan of their service, but it arrived in one piece. And like I said, it's a bolt-on neck. The only finish flaws, there's a good bit of finish around this, a good bit of flaws around this trim piece right here. This black border trim around the headstock is the binding. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. There's a lot of finish flaws with the binding. As you can see, there's some white marks on the binding, as well as there's a small gap between the binding and the actual wood. And we'll go from the headstock down. So tuners are solid. They're what you'd expect. They're generic tuners. It stays in tune pretty decent. There's no truss rod cover. It has this black binding that, like I said, is pretty flawed. It's pretty sloppy, honestly, but also this is in Vietnamese made guitar. And for that price point, what you're getting versus some of these finish flaws is what's to be expected. So next we have the nut, and the nut is just looks like it's just a normal plastic nut. It was cut pretty decent. It's cut pretty sloppy as far as they're not clean. The cuts aren't clean, but as far as the spacing, super clean. As far as the height and stuff, it's super high. The nut's super high. You'll have to get that shaved, obviously. There's going to be some setup required on this guitar. So if you know how to do that yourself, then you're in luck. Or you have a great luthier or something like that. Up next, we have these block inlays and some nickel frets. It looks like there's 22, and then the binding on the neck is pretty well done. It's not too terrible, I would say. I mean, there's a little bit of, it needs to be cleaned. It needs to probably be polished, and then when the binding meets this nut area right here, it's a little sloppy, but nothing crazy. It's all cosmetic. As you can see, what I was pointing out before, there's some white, some type of factory dust or something on this binding. But regardless, the fretwork is pretty solid, honestly. I'd give it, for this price point, I'd probably be giving it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. The leveling's pretty decent. There's no crazy high frets that's causing, just a dead string or a really buzzy string. There's no sharp edges, which is always great. And like I said, it's pretty solid. It's pretty polished off. There's not too many tool marks on the fretboard or anything like that. The blocks, the inlays are pretty decent. You can see where they filled some of them with glue on the edges. Not a big deal for me. You can barely notice. You'd have to have this thing under like a magnifying glass to see these things. The pickups they're just covered chrome pickups, and they're just some generic ones they threw in there, slapped on in there. There's a 3-way toggle, and it's solid. The knobs are solid. This bridge is solid. It wasn't hard to intonate at all, which I was very surprised, because especially with it being a bass guitar hybrid with a 30-inch scale, it's just crazy, honestly. It actually was fairly easy to intonate. And like I said, it stays in tune fairly well. And I'll give you guys some clips, of just me playing around, some just out of the box with some Fortin NTS neural plugin. I also, as you heard in the demo, it sounds pretty great within a mix, but I'll play some chuggy stuff on it. Show you these pickups aren't complete trash or anything. They're pretty decent. Honestly, I was expecting much more mud out of them, and they're not like they're not bare knuckles or anything, but they get the job done. You wouldn't have to change them if you didn't want to. You can definitely tweak your tone to allow these to be clearer. So I have this tune to double drop D with the standard set of strings on it that it came with. I haven't changed them. If you wanted to go to drop E and maybe go up another step, it would be very hard with these strings. They're very thick. You'd have to replace them for sure with maybe an 8-string set or a custom set. So, in final thoughts on this, I think it's a great guitar for the money. $460 is still a deal. If you're in the UK, it'd be an awesome deal. Apparently, Gear for Music, who is the seller of this guitar, is a big vendor over in the UK. And that would be awesome. So they're very similar to Tomon in that respect. But final thoughts, I think it's a great guitar. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But for now, take it easy.